Welcome, gorgeous humans and beautiful souls. Welcome into day 3 of Cosmic Rewrite. It is such an honor to be back here with you. Thank you for your bravery and overcoming your fears to participate for 3 days. Congratulations. This is such an extraordinary journey. So thank you for your commitment to turning up. And we are experiencing, yes, the halfway point. We are taking things up a notch tonight. Woohoo! I love things quantum. It's like I have to hold the reins on this thing because I'm like, I just want to jump into the DNA, but I need to set the landscape. So thank you so much for trusting me and my team to help you, guide you, support you on this empowering journey of really orientating completely. This is a 360-degree shift of your life. And so play the patient game, play the long game. This is going to set you up so incredibly powerfully for where you're actually holding the pen and able to script your life. I'm giving you the master key and so many codes here for the ability to reshape your reality. Once you get this foundational piece, anything you build upon it, any of your heart's desires, work, an overflow of money, there'll be such a sense of fulfillment in yourself. The flow-on effect of that to your loved ones and the planet is absolutely an extraordinary journey. So congratulations on joining me for day 3. Welcoming also the people in the Facebook Live, in the Golden Path Experience group, and hashtag if you're watching the replay on YouTube and also in the Facebook group. I'd love to welcome you into this masterclass as well. So day 1, day 2, we've been setting the scene, setting the stage, doing very dramatic backdrops on this cosmic play. And today we're going to dive in to the power of the storyteller. And I've been sharing other people's quotes during this mastermind, this masterclass, but I thought I'm going to share one of my quotes. And one of my realizations is the storyteller has always been the most powerful person in the room. Always. And we see that played out in history so often. I'm not sure if the women in this community, if you're a past student or an old student, you'll know this teaching, but I talk a lot about the burning of the Library of Alexandria. The reason I speak about this is that so many incredible texts and scripts and the ancient scriptures written by women, shared by women, songs, astronomy, the medicines of the botanicals, the medicine of the stars and constellations, as it was understood by women, got completely burnt down and destroyed. Welcome in, Elizabeth. Welcome in, Jess. Good evening to everyone. This is such a powerful play, and also we see it represented too. A lot of political figures do this of when they go into times of war. In 1932, Stalin, as he's encroaching on Ukraine, one of the first moves that people in power, misguided power, do, and Stalin invited all of the songwriters, the creatives, and the bards into one of the capital cities of Ukraine. And they thought they were turning up for a really important meeting. However, as all the bards and the poets and the songwriters began to gather in the capital city, Stalin had them sentenced. And it was one of the first moves he made to invade Ukraine. The reason this gets done is that if you can emit or get the strongest broadcasting message, you own and hold the power. And we see this, the one that owns Hollywood, or the group of families that own Hollywood, the broadcasting messages and the frequencies, whoever dominates the airwave gets the predominant script in reality. Do you understand that? So the most powerful person in the room is actually the one that is the storyteller, the one that can retell the story, the one that can reshape it and mold it and meld it into the frequency that is more applicable and applicable and ripe for the manifestation of their reality. A beautiful tool we've already experienced on day one is holding and supporting, coming into that heart portal. The heart is such a powerful bridge that is able to balance out the storylines that are currently played on the planet. It gets us out of the head hypnoses. And then we're able on day two to hold this inner child, to just provide a bit of presence and unconditional love. And we're pulling back now on that bow and on that arrow. And now we're on the cusp of releasing the arrow. And what begins to script and hold this moment is the ability of the storyteller. When I was a young girl, I grew up in Indigenous communities in far north Queensland, in a town called Weipa in Cape York Peninsula. And I had exposure as a young girl into Indigenous communities and sitting and going to school and hanging out on the weekends with the Indigenous of this country, of the region of far north Queensland. And there are many things I saw and experienced, but most of it you just feel. You feel the pulse of the land and you feel the heartbeat of these people. But a story I was told by one of the elders is there is a position known as the dream runner in the communities and within the tribes. And the dream runner is a very important, special kind of assigned role in the community. And it's given by spirit. It's like no one can just be the dream runner. It's very much, you come from that family, you come from that lineage, you are the next dream runner in line. And so in moments of heightened moments with the trance of the didgeridoo or the trance of the clapping sticks, they use those instruments to take themselves into this elevated consciousness and a trance-like state. And in this state, it's very easy to access the astral plane. And this is now the role of the dream runner. The dream runner in the community enters the astral plane. And this is what they do. They run backwards first. They travel backwards. Remember, we're pulling the bow backwards. They travel backwards first. And they complete the loops and they resolve and they ground any of the unrealized dreams or hopes or wishes or desires of that individual. They're the unmanifest, and they bring it into completion in an energetic loop. And then once they've done that, the dream runner runs forward and he collects and calls in all the dreams and aspirations and the storylines that are most desirable for that individual. And they begin to pull on them and they begin to call them and sing them from the future closer into the now moment, closer to the individual. This is the art we are learning. And I'm so honored to share these arts of alchemy and traveling the astral plane in such a conscious, intelligent way. There is an art to traversing the astral plane, and you can absolutely use it to your advantage, use it what it is actually designed for. And all of the astral plane is your domain. It belongs to you. So perhaps invite yourself or investigate how you can set some parameters around your astral plane. Who gets to enter it? Who gets to exit it? What activities are you up to as you sleep at night? Because you actually get to have a say over that. We're treating it as an unconscious, what if, whatever happens, space. It's just simply because we haven't been trained in these arts yet. But this awareness is coming back the more we expand into our quantum abilities and the more we dive into our multidimensional self. So the one that is the most powerful player, the one that's got all the power, is the storyteller. This is why in the past they burn libraries first. If you can erase the scripts and the stories, whoever speaks next becomes the dominant story. So we really are holding the pen of our lives and we're sowing the seeds of light and we're scripting this. And this is such a massive opportunity right now for humanity to understand truly what a cosmic rewrite opportunity we are sitting in. The atmospheric conditions have been set. You don't have to think about that. It's been done for you. What's required now is coming back in to within and realizing how much power is contained within the smallest of moments in your life and actually picking up the pen again. Yeah? Is that cool or is that cool? Yes, Jess, thank you so much. Yeah, amazing. So as long as you're staying in survival mode, you're staying in that head hypnosis, you will never get beyond it. You'll never get to experience the multidimensional aspects of who you are. You'll never get to tap into the Akashic records if you're in survival mode. You'll never get to explore the power of the DNA. And we're going to now, it is time for us to change from survival mode into this peaceful existence with wisdom. A peaceful existence with wisdom. And how we do that is with our 4 superpowers. I've spoken a lot about the awareness piece. And the next superpower is compassion. Compassion over the head hypnosis. The third superpower is discernment. What will I do next? Who's the right person for me? What is the next best step that I can take? And then after discernment, we need the courage again, the courage to make the step and the transition out of survival mode into the art of fulfillment and presence and alignment. And this will begin to strengthen not only the heart portal at the front of the body. We live so much from the front. I really encourage the students here and anyone watching this masterclass or any of those that work with me is open up the back doorways and gateways of the heart. The back body has so much to say. And this is where our ancestors and the lineage of light that we come from meet us. They meet us at the back body, and they will stand at a distance of reverence and respect, and they will only enter if you call them in to do so. So once we've really opened and activated this heart portal, there are portals all through the human body. And for so long, spiritual teachers, yogic masters, and esoteric teachers like myself, we've been saying for ages that our body is programmable. It's so programmable by language, words, and thought. And one of the most incredible discoveries for me was the coding and programmableness of DNA. And this is now the territory that most excites me. And it is literally like picking up a can of rocket fuel or like accelerant and just pouring it onto a fire. And remember, on day one, we spoke about how DNA is that all-consuming fire in the center of my being. It's so lit already, the fire of humanity, the light within your cellular structure. It is so lit already. We just haven't been taught how to be good custodians of all the incredible faculties that we have. And so there's actually not, again, a huge amount of manual labor that is required on your part. The 6 rays of courage teach us, if we're coming from that heart cascade, so much of this momentum and forward acceleration in your life is actually taken over by the inherent spiritual power that is yours. And so inside the body, we have this innate system. It's the intelligent body consciousness. Innate then becomes like our second brain. And it is so connected. It is connected to the DNA system. It becomes like a second brain. And it doesn't think, it knows. It knows stuff. It just simply is in presence. It is in wholeness. It is connected to the unified field, and it knows. What is then contained within the Merkaba, which is this beautiful double octahedron? It is like a sacred geometric structure, which is the vehicle that contains your physical body. It contains the higher self, human consciousness, and the innate. And as we investigate deeper and deeper into DNA, it has a chemical and a quantum imprint. And then the more you investigate DNA, the more you realize how quantum it is. And anything that is in the unseen realm really gets me excited. Because when something is in the unseen realm or the unmanifest realm, it means it hasn't been scripted yet. So if I am to meet consciously at the unseen or the quantum or the unmanifest, if I'm to meet it at that point, it essentially is the creator meeting creation, and it kisses up and begins to merge and interface with each other at this point. And when something is so like a blank canvas, that's really good. That's a really good starting point, because now, as a fulfilled, a whole individual that is in her presence, in her or his presence, I have the ability to script what begins to fall on that blank page with intelligence, with refinement. It will be in alignment. It will be enriching for me and my external world. The DNA contains all of your Akashic records. It contains your angelic name. This is the name that can only be sung in light. More than 97% of your DNA now is what scientists are calling non-coded DNA. So a lot of the other DNA is already coded and scripted. It has a lot of protein elements in it. It has that chemical imprint. But this is like open. This is such an open new frontier. And I don't know about you, but I've got a little bit of an adventurous spirit in me. And if there is a new terrain, I'm like, yep, send me there. I want to be the first in. I want to know it. I want to get in and play. I want to play in that realm before other people infiltrate it and put their silly stories over it. I'm like, let me in, let me through the gateway of that. I'm signing up for that. Yes, please send me first. We have perfect stem cell blueprints already housed and sitting there in the DNA. Information can be written and unwritten in your DNA. And an incredible thing about cell replication is when a cell replicates, there's always a point where it makes a choice. There's actually a choice point before a cell replicates. And the cell will ask the innate and the soul blueprint, do you want me to make a copy of that? Or do you have new information? It will always ask. And so if the innate comes in or the imprint and goes, nah, got no new information, just copy that cell. And so the replication process continues like this. Whereas if we could intersect at that point and say, no, that's actually a choice point, I have an opportunity to actually be present there and turn up in my authority. And I'm going to say today that, you know what, we do have new information today. And I'm going to interrupt the pattern of that cell and say, yeah, let's go back to the original blueprint for humanity, shall we? Let's go back and ask my soul blueprint. That's new information, what it would like to do at this choice point. It just gets better and better and better. DNA knows everything about you. It knows absolutely everything about your spiritual and your cellular evolvement. It knows every single thing about every single life you have lived on this planet. There are so many multidimensional spiritual attributes that are contained within your DNA. All of them are quantum. This is like, I'm now at a carnival ride. I'm literally at the most awesome spring fair when I started hearing this. And you know what? It was just so refreshing from what the personal development industry was that I'd worked in for so long, because so much of that industry got built on head hypnoses. It's like, I'm lacking. I've got to improve myself. I have to live up to my potential. They're not satisfied here. There's so much more potential I've got to give myself and the planet. And there's just a little nuance. There's just a little energetic, subtle shift that I make to that statement. And it's what has a deep sense of fulfillment and joy and connection and peace. I'm wanting to experience that peaceful existence with wisdom. Human consciousness will always be limited to the 3D. And therefore, you know what you want. You know what you want. You can write your goal list. You can put it up on a vision board and you can think all of that is outside you. That's why I no longer use vision boards, because the very act of it is sending it outside of my field and my body. And there's nothing wrong. I've done that for years and years and years. But once I realized, oh, this is what I want. This is my human consciousness, limited, built upon my lack, built upon me wanting to control the outcome. But only the DNA knows what you need. The DNA and the innate of the body actually knows what you need to accomplish what you have come here to do. It knows what you need in order for you to realize your soul's highest mission. And when I do the soul's highest mission readings, I've been doing them for over 15 years. It's like the individual wants that thing. You can see the level of service on a missioned soul. You do not need to convince me of their dedication and their love of humanity and their desire to better humanity and the planet. And when someone is so charged on their soul's highest mission, there is such an art to getting the head hypnoses out of the way, because it is the only thing that will trip you up. Because when you are so lit from that fire within, that DNA, that all-consuming fire, and you've activated your soul's highest mission, you're a mission soul, you're a light worker, you're an energetic healer, you're an empath, you're a new earth leader, you're a visionary. You can be an entrepreneur and have the most high, insane levels of compassion for humanity. The DNA will know exactly what you need in order for you to accomplish what it is that you came here to do. Your heart pillar loves this territory. The heart pillar will love working with DNA because it takes courage, it's unfamiliar, and it's totally in alignment. The gooey stuff is the head hypnosis. So DNA not only contains the record of all that you have been on the planet, but all the relationships you had with Gaia as well. It contains all that you've ever done, and it contains everything spiritually of what you've learned in every lifetime. And so when you work with DNA, it's very easy for you to begin to read and access your own Akashic records. And you just get in there and get busy, because there are so many magnificent lifetimes that you have already lived. There are very, very established, accomplished lifetimes. There are skill sets and attributes so deeply within your remembrance of healing arts, of elevated states of spiritual attainment, the ability to offer spontaneous healing to yourself and to another. That is all kept and stored within your DNA. And the ability then to draw upon all these incredible skill sets, talents, abilities that you've already mastered. This is now not just awakening. This is mastery over the quantum multidimensional self. This is true mastery of within. And no one can do it for you. I can open the door for you and say, hey, take a look. There's this really exciting thing I've discovered. That's my role. I'm the guide. I've got a very sophisticated, fun, grounded roadmap that delivers results upon manifestations that lead to a deeply fulfilled and extraordinary life. But I cannot walk through the doorway for you. I can open the door, leave it open, and I can have patience. I can have awareness and compassion. But it is you that must walk through the doorway into your own remembrance of your DNA, of your own Akashic records. And it just begins to pop like popcorn. The more you do this, the more it opens up. And you begin reading the greatest book that was ever written. And that's the story of you. And then you come to this realization that you were the script writer all along. You just might have slipped out of remembrance, that's all. But when you start reading the book, you're like, holy moly, this handwriting is really familiar. It's because you wrote it. I'm like, damn, girl, there's some exciting shit in here. I'm like, whoa, look at that plot twist. And we go again. It's like this gets more extraordinary. And like, look at that heartbreak. Look at that addiction. Look at the drama. Look at the forgetting. And then I'm like, yeah, I like going to the good stuff. And then I'm like, okay, let me find all the magnificent chapters. And that's what began to accelerate my own remembrance of Atlantis, is I just started looking for the magnificent chapters. And I was like, oh, wow, I've stumbled upon something here. I'm actually really good at a certain skill set. Now, if you told my mind that I was in Atlantis, I did this, I was that old, it's just, you can get hypnotized up here, and you can get swayed. You can get convinced into stories that actually may not be your own. It sounds fantastical. The ego or the head hypnosis is intrigued, but it's going to reduce it to make sure that you feel comfortable, that you survive, and that you're only doing the familiar. So I might as well make sure my Atlantean remembrance storyline fits in with it, what everyone else is sharing about it, so the parameters are safe. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that, because I'm not in their body. The DNA will give you the direct access. And then it gets wilder and wilder and wilder, and you start realizing that housed within the DNA, you actually carry pieces of so much light, so many stardusts, and you carry the lineage of light that you came from other planets, from other star nations, and I carry all those pieces and parts within me. So when you hear that line, the universe is within you, I'm like, oh, they're actually right. That's not just a throwaway line that's convenient to empower you, make you feel good that you can achieve anything in your life. No, this is actually mechanically how we are built. And what I found then, if I reduce it all, I know I get so excited. Please enjoy my enthusiasm of DNA. But when we're to reduce it down to such a simple base level, DNA is simply an incredible field, and it is a portal. And then when you realize that DNA is contained within every single cell of your being, I'm like, I'm not convinced anymore that I want to be heart-led. Because when I say heart-led, people just think here, that this region here, that the heartscape is only what it is that's calling in their life, their reality, their manifestations. So now when I meditate or when I sink into something, rather than just being heart-focused, to me, it reduces my capacity, it diminishes my light. For me personally, this is what I've found. And so I began switching my attention over and over and over. When I meditate, when I go into prayer, okay, it's not my heart asking. It is the entirety. It is the center point of every single cell of my body that is speaking now. And then I worked out, if I could consciously bring that forward, when I meet an individual, I meet them as every single cell of my being is turned on and lit with light, and through that center point is an open portal. And that DNA, that field of portal, I want that to meet me in the other person. And so now when I meet another individual, I'm like, okay, DNA portal talking to DNA portal. Let's do this. Let's see where this conversation goes. And I don't have to say a thing. I can just hold the presence and the awareness, knowing that this individual and who I'm connecting with and spending time with through the center point of every single cell in their body, that divinity is pouring through them, through that center point. And in any moment, it's oscillating, popping in and popping out of existence, popping in, popping out of existence, in the quantum, in the manifest, in the unmanifest, back into the manifest. This is how malleable our reality is. This is how malleable our scripts and our stories are. At each moment, that's why nothing's solid. Nothing is matter here is solid. All of it, all of this reality is popping in and out of existence so fast that you perceive it to be solid. But the truth is, it is not solid. And I begin to orientate my life over and over and over again to that choice point of seeing all of this reality on the unmanifest side, just about to pop into existence. And that's how I see the birth of the new earth. It is all just sitting there behind the veil, so ripe. It's like crowning, when the woman is crowning and she's about to do that final hard push, or when you need the shoulders out. It's the widest point of the whole birth process. And it's like, I want to meet humanity right there, where it is the creator literally kissing up and interfacing with creation. And it is from that zone, I kind of call that the God zone, from that zone, from that remembrance, from that fulfillment, I'm like, okay, let's write now what it is that is truest on my heart's desire. I'm like, write a goal from there. Write my sincere wish for humanity from that point. And watch things change rapidly through the heart cascade effect, where you have let go so much and you're able to express your authenticity so much at that choice point that it is absolutely inevitable and it must be given. This is such a different orientation than writing a goal list or to writing your to-do list for the week, or finding incredible pictures in magazines and putting them up on a vision board. If you can find yourself in this GPS coordinates of being right on the veil, and then you're actually then able to vocalize it and sound it or tone it, it's so powerful to then speak your heart's truest desires. Because now we've engaged 3D manifest. Not only that, we've given it sound vibration. Another thing about DNA is that it is highly programmable with sound. Whatever is on your truest heart's desires, you must speak it and sound it. And it must travel through the throat chakra. Why would you want it to travel through the throat chakra? Because it is the 5th chakra to the body system. Where have you just manifest from? The fifth dimension. The fifth dimension of the quantum must meet the fifth portal in the body chakra system. Engage at that choice point and then vocalize it here. Express your authenticity. Express your truth. And remember, courage from day one was the core. If you can speak what is on one's mind through the true desires of the heart, that is courage. That is courage mixed with your multidimensional self, engaging the quantum field, activating fifth dimensional frequencies at the throat, and it is all supported by the backdrop of the Aquarian age, moving into the age of integrity and the age of truth. This is a rocket ship. This is a roadmap to a rocket ship of empowerment, fulfillment, presence, divine service, and you can create whatever your heart truest desires are in the playing field of this reality. And so some quotes I share: we are holding the pen, scripting the seeds of light on the pages of linear time. And another core teaching is you must become the CEO over your cellular structure. You've got to start owning it. Because there are other groups and communities on the planet that would love to interfere with the field of your DNA. They want to run other programs through it that are contaminated with viruses. If you've ever had a virus on your computer or your software, it's a real freaking pain in the ass. It's expensive to get your laptop fixed. And a virus will replicate and replicate very quickly. And it will not be in the natural, organic process of this evolutionary path of the golden path. It will be on a tangent, and that is actually the true detour, not this work. This is not the detour. This is the golden path. This is the truth. This is the most accelerated way you could actually have fulfillment now and not delay your fulfillment, thinking that your future manifestations and goals and dreams are going to make you happier, more successful, more healthier in that future moment. We move into the power of words and magic. I'll just share a personal story with the viewers. But once I finished high school in Brisbane, I took a gap year. I really didn't know what I was up to. I was very, very jealous of people that were so clear on what they wanted to do after high school. It's like they knew they wanted to become a physiotherapist and they just studied that thing at university, and they were on such a clearly defined trajectory of life. I certainly did not have that. And I felt unsafe around those people because I felt I was less than. I didn't have that clarity or definition over my life at all. And so I took a gap year. I worked a couple of jobs, saved up money, and traveled overseas. And when I got back, I was still not really particularly directed in any orientation, but I did start university in Brisbane business degree. I knew I liked business. It was like it's like money, I'll do business. And I started that, and I was very good at some of the projects, and then I failed so many of the subjects. And halfway through it, I was like, oh God, like this is not going to plan. This is not what I want at all. I was very unhappy. And I found at the time I was sharing a house with my brother, and so strange because he doesn't remember this moment at all. But I remember going into his bedroom just one evening. He was out working late and I was a little bit lost. I found a book on the side of his bed, on the bedside table. And I picked it up and turned over the cover, and it was the Celestine Prophecy. It was the first book ever that I've had exposed to this world of reality and color and unmanifest. And when I asked my brother back on it, he does not remember ever owning that book. I'm like, dude, I remember it. I picked it up. I took it from your bedroom and I remember reading it. And I found something so familiar in that book, yet so unfamiliar, because up until that point in my life, I'd never had that conversation. It's just the cells of my being knew and recognized what was written in that book. Yeah, it is such a great book. And I was like, okay, it just made me reassess everything. And I was really dissatisfied. I'd finished the business degree. I just quit. I didn't even defer it. I just quit. And I asked myself, okay, what had I liked in my life up until that point? And I used to do speech and drama classes after school in primary school. And it terrified me, but I knew I wanted to be in the room. And I was like, oh, well, I enjoy speech and drama. I'll do some short courses. And at that stage, QUT did have a drama arts faculty, and there were a couple of night classes I could do in speech and drama and theatre studies. And I started that, and I was like, oh, I'm having fun here. And I wanted to take it a step further. So I auditioned to all of the acting schools around Australia. And I got accepted into a national theatre school in Melbourne. And so I packed up my whole life. I knew no one in Melbourne. I didn't have a place to live. I didn't have a job, but I was like, no, I'm going for this. And I'm looking at the heart going, whoa, there's courage here. This is all very unfamiliar. But I knew something. And I feel deeply, deeply grateful and so blessed to have gone to acting school. I think performing arts and the creative arts are one of the most healing, empowering, joyful experiences. And I actually believe every single person should have some taste into the world of performing arts, whether it's singing, playing a musical instrument, drawing, some expression of play. I needed to play again to find myself. I needed to play to find my voice. And I needed to play again to find the scripts that I was meant to sing and write for myself. And I truly believe I was given that opportunity and guided into acting school for such another reason than what other people may go into such a college for. And I worked a little bit in the industry. I eventually got networking of all the production crew behind set, on set, behind camera. And that is actually how I began to start and build my special events management company, was through all the contacts I'd made with behind camera crew. We started doing music festivals, government delegations, outdoor parades, Chinese New Year, Moomba. If you've been to Melbourne, it's a big water festival of the Yarra River. And it became my first company. What I'm saying is I feel very blessed for that experience, because in acting school, you get trained on the body, you get trained on the voice, and you get trained how to move and read. And you actually get trained in presence, because the most brilliant, extraordinary, captivating actors have a huge amount of presence. And it's like you cannot take your eyes off that actor. They are commanding the audience through their presence and through their ability to be so vulnerable, so raw, so exposed with the audience that they are holding their heart so open. It is such a courageous act. And this is the power, again, of what I learned there is like, okay, so what am I scripting in life? And then I got a more grander metaphor is we're all just actors in this grand cosmic play. You've chosen the stage that you wish to walk on. You've chosen the script. You've chosen the actors. You've chosen your opening night. You're actually also the audience member watching it back. You're the costume designer. You're the set designer. You're even the public relations company that do the promo leading up to opening night, and you're the one that actually rolls out the red carpet for yourself. You do it all. That is the power of words, of magic, of scripts. And so I do wholeheartedly, all from my DNA field, I absolutely believe the power of words when you begin to vocalize something, your true heart's desires through the throat, and actually have the feedback loop of hearing it. And you might think you're a little bit weird at the start. You might think, oh, am I really worthy of that? But you will find a resonance and you will find a power in your voice that actually owns the very thing that you are saying. And when you can own your manifestations and own your power and own your presence to that degree, it is absolutely inevitable that it would eventually become yours. So let's look at some powerful words and powerful scripts. And we really are becoming the storytellers over this reality. It's just we've forgotten that we've owned the story the whole time. And we're coming into that remembrance as a humanity. Here's a powerful prayer I would love to share with you. This is known as the heart's prayer. This is something you can begin at that choice point inside the DNA. Visualize the DNA. Visualize the center point in every single cell of your being. And as you begin to travel and own the power within you that is laying dormant, you wish to express it through the throat, the heart's prayer. And the first line in the heart's prayer is, I deserve my truest heart's desires. Who and where I am is perfect. For someone that has not done much spiritual or personal development, especially if they're in the head hypnosis and they're really getting thrown around by that cap, the circumstances, the ailments, and the pressure, this can be very difficult, this line, for them to actually understand and even say it or agree with it. Because when all is lost, who and where I am is perfect still remains. I'm ready for my next step. And the fourth powerful line of the heart's prayer, its fulfillment is here and now. This is such a reboot system. This will reboot your system very quickly, especially when you've done that triple hearts connection. You've done the inner child and you brought your hands together to hold the wound and give it unconditional presence and love. You've pulled back on your arrow. You've interfaced at that choice point and met yourself in that field of where quantum butts up against density. And then from there, the heart's prayer: I deserve my truest heart's desires. Who and where I am is perfect. I'm ready for my next step. Fulfillment is here and now. This is such a powerful roadmap to begin manifesting and stepping into your dreams and your desires, the overflow of abundance. There's spaciousness. Your business will improve. Your relationship will improve. Your health will improve. Your peace and your level of contentment will be so available. And you will begin to feel the pulse of life flow through you. You'll begin to feel vital. And exercise 2 is another powerful shift I began to make. And this is when I really began scripting and talking to my DNA. And so my meditations and my prayers began to shift, and they shifted, becoming so much wiser, as if I could actually visualize and imagine myself speaking to the cellular structure directly. It's just like I was going in direct. And I was talking to myself and my cellular structure in such a way, it might sound a little bit funny, but it's like, if you can imagine a commander, a leader, a general of the army, and it's like I came in with that attitude of command. I was not asking for permission. I came in with a level of command and authority because I worked it out. I was like, holy moly, my cellular structure works for me. It works for me. It works for my higher self. It's actually under my leadership. It's actually under my command. And it was a bit like, oi, listen up. And I had to talk at that level to begin with, to break the head hypnosis that I actually wasn't, I had to like break myself out of this pattern, reintroduce myself to this level of authority and responsibility over my life. So kind of, it was a pattern interrupter, and it was like, oi, listen up. It's like Myra here. I'm like, I'm in command. You work for me. It's like, listen up. And it's like, I imagine that there were all little soldiers in an army, and they're like, oh shit, she's woken up. It's like, boom. They come out of the amnesia as well. And they're like, yes, command us. And they're just beautiful workers. They actually want to work with you. They were just waiting for leadership. They were waiting for you to get to the point of walking through the doorway, understanding that you were the master already. They're waiting for the master to turn up and begin commanding this inner domain. And so the most potent scripts I began to discover were the ones that would strengthen and strengthen the relationship with my DNA over and over and over again. And it began to solidify my quantum abilities. Downloads, Akashic remembrances, soul remembrances, technological advancements, innovations, inventions, healing apparatus that are not on this planet yet, not in a woo-woo way, because I've done ayahuasca, but because I did the freaking thing. And I didn't rely on an external stimulant to tear through my chakras to look at an open field. I did it within, with no external stimulants. That is how powerful we are when we understand this ability of turning within. You own the inner energetic architecture of your being. I assure you, it is under your reign. This is what it means to be sovereign. When you put a crown on your head and you throne. You step into your majesty. You have this much reign over your kingdom or queendom. And so I started writing scripts for DNA. Dear Spirit, dear innate, dear DNA, I choose to meld with you in whatever form you decide. Because I've let go. I'm going through the heart cascade, running down that waterfall with momentum now. I'm like, you decide. This is going to be fun. You decide. Dear DNA, dear Spirit, thank you for being in me. Thank you for protecting me. Thank you for being in the field around me that keeps me safe. I'm always in the right place at the right time. I know what international flights to get. I know what countries to be in to avoid cataclysmic events and just disruptions. I'm always in flow. Thank you that I'm able to hone the intuition so that I will know the truth. Not because a guru or a master or a coach taught me, but because I worked it out. You'll know the truth. Dear DNA, examine my life. This one's amazing. This one's like rocket fuel. Dear DNA, examine the life that I have and give me those things which will enhance it. Do you see how we've got to be really clever with words here? Is I'm actually giving the power back over to my spiritual power, and I'm out of my head hypnosis. I'm not trying to control this process now. Dear DNA, examine the life that I have and give me, you could put the word only, give me only those things which will enhance it. And this is the first one I ever wrote. The first one I started working with is this second one from the bottom. Dear DNA, dear cellular structure, oi, listen up. Myra's back. Myra's here, and I've got something to say. Return me back to the original blueprint for humanity, and you do it now. The ability of that statement right there has absolutely the ability to begin washing clean, as if you could remember that astral runner, the dream runner. That there can go back on the astral plane. And I'm not talking about just this lifetime. I'm talking about all of the old constructs, the old ties, the old wounds, the old thought patterns of unresolved and unhealed experiences in all of the lifetimes you have lived. And I'm talking about taking out other galactic agendas. I'm talking about taking out a reptilian stuff. I'm like, this is a big, heavy hitter, this statement. I want you to return me back to the original blueprint for humanity, because that's the assignment I want to be on. That's the template. And then you can do crazy things with your health. I'm like, now instruct my body clock to only count every second day. Do you know what that does? I now instruct the body clock to count every second day. It slows down the aging process if your body clock is only counting every second day. It doesn't care about linear time, your soul blueprint, and the imprinting on that quantum field. It belongs in eternal. And so instruct your body clock to count, only count every second day. And watch things begin to change. And you say it with that level of command. Restore me back to optimum health, and do so now. And watch things begin to really shift in your life. We're coming to the close of day 3. I've given you so much to think about, of where you can take this level of scripting. Remember how we started this evening is the most powerful person in the room is the storyteller. and you are holding the pen, scripting. You may not know what's next. You may not know at all of the moments what to write, and that's okay. But the heart and the quantum field, it knows, and it will give you exactly what it is that you need to accomplish what it is that you have come here to do. I have a very special announcement. I'm like, sprinkle fairy dust, stardust. So here's a special announcement for those in the Zoom room, for those watching the Facebook Live, for those who've registered. We're opening up a special bonus class, and this is happening next week on Thursday, the 23rd of May. And we are actually having a very special guest come in. She's a dear friend of mine. She's a trance channel. She's an ascension mentor, and she's absolutely a global sensation right now. She's right on the cusp of, well, I'd say she has already. My dear friend, Rubia Lesada. She's our special guest, and she'll be teaching all about this. She's so aligned with these teachings. So if you've registered, you will get an email tomorrow that will give you all the details to this special bonus class with Rubia and I. She's been featured not just once, but she's been featured twice on the Next Level Soul podcast with Alex Ferrari. It's gaining so much exposure. There are millions and millions and millions of downloads of this podcast. She's received an invitation to go to Las Vegas to be on a podcast that is currently the #1 Apple podcast at the moment, which has got over 11 million viewers. She's going to be talking all about this crystalline nervous system, the ascension process, and our capacity to hold so much more within the cellular structure. We're going to be talking about quantum mechanics, multidimensionality, and of course, our manifestation skills. So everything we've covered, I just would love for you to hear all of these teachings and trainings from another incredible leading lady of the light. So that is Thursday, the 23rd, 7:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. If you have not registered, you still have a chance to register. That way you will be given the calendar invite to this bonus session. The thing about this bonus session with Rubia is it will not be streamed into the Facebook group. You need to be registered, and you need to come into the Zoom room to join that bonus round next week on the 23rd. So it's so exciting. I can't wait to share this magic more with you with another devoted sister, Rubia. Rubia and I create so much magic when we're together. So I'm deeply honored to share that with you as well. So thank you so much for joining day 3. We're going to take it up another level, if you can manage. Another level from day 4. Tomorrow is Thursday, the 16th of May. We will be, during the daytime in Australia, 11 a.m. tomorrow, Australian Eastern Standard Time. Please invite or share this with another leading lady of the light, another new earth worker and healer. The more people that get this information, the more we are absolutely going to reshape this whole reality and tell the most extraordinary story. And it would be a story that we're all deeply proud of and deeply fulfilled with. That is my sincere wish for you, for myself, and for humanity. Love you so much. Thank you for joining us, and I'll see you soon on the internet. Good night.